Hello everyone, I just finished watching True Blood Season 5 Episode 7 and I have to say I am so excited. The whole episode was just brilliant and I loved the ending. Like, I saw Eric feeding and then I heard, I think it's the Swedish, I'm not sure what it is, which language it is, and then my heart leapt and then there was Godric. Oh my goodness, it was glorious, it was beautiful, and I would be screaming right now if it went for the fact that it's 20 past 3 in the morning and I have to be quiet because I don't want to wake other people up. Oh my goodness, this is wonderful. Oh, this is what I've been waiting for. Okay. Start off with the most boring characters. So, Andy, he goes to the old sheriff Bud Dearborn, I think his name is, for some advice because he's having difficulties with his sheriff duties. And the way that Bud Dearborn was acting, the actor, I felt was really bad during that scene. I just could not. It wasn't believable to me. His eyes were going all over the place, and I was just thought it was really poorly acted. And I'm not really interested in Andy anyway. I just think he's boring. I just think he's unnecessary. He's just whatever. But then we have Holly, who I really like as a character. I think she's really interesting because, sorry, I'm just trying to get comfortable, because she is a witch, and she's actually clever enough to acknowledge that there are other creatures apart from vampires out there. She's very knowledgeable on this kind of thing. And it was sweet where her and Eileen were watching Eileen's wedding video. It was kind of a weird scene the way they shot it. Sorry, the way they shot it. I was like, why are they showing this whole thing for? Was it obviously it was to fortify the fact that Eileen was missing Terry, and Terry, did have a lot to give, and that he really is a kind-hearted, tender soul, but he was just tortured at the moment from this Ifrit issue. And it was so great to see Holly, giving her friend support, and I just love that about Holly. I think she's very, very supportive, and that's really great. And then we have Terry himself, he was thinking of killing himself, and one thing that struck me as odd was, why wouldn't he be angry at Patrick, who is his army friend? Because Patrick is the one that gave the orders, and even though Terry was the one that killed, I would have been like, why did you tell me to kill them? He probably brought that up in previous episodes and everything, but I can't remember. I'd have an issue with Patrick personally. And the Ifrit came and kind of taunted them. So obviously it is a very sentient being. And one of the things that, I think this whole Ifrit issue is going to be resolved by the end of the season. I'm not sure if Suki's going to be involved, but she might be, because because the sheer amount of effort they put into the whole Ifrit issue with the special effects. I think it might have some sort of big resolve, or they might just end it on a really low note just to get rid of the storyline kind of thing. One of the things that annoyed me about the whole scene with Terry and Patrick was when Patrick, and I know it was kind of satire, he said, "Oh, only Muslims commit suicide," and that was kind of, I don't think they should have written that into the script, because it wasn't very polite. There are things that people can call people who have black skin, and you wouldn't say that about them. So why it's acceptable to club like 2+ billion people in the group that they're all suicide bombers is completely beyond me. I don't think that's acceptable. Even on a TV show, I think they should have been much more sensitive about that, because some people wouldn't have realised that it was meant to be a joke. And obviously I just didn't think it did anything to kind of dispel the stereotype that all Muslims were terrorists. But yeah, and then we have the whole Hoyt thing. It was really weird to see him become a part of a hate group. I was like, what is going on? I don't get it. Why would Hoyt all of us? I understand that he's still very much hung up over Jessica, but again, with him dealing with the pain of Jessica, much like Terry deals with the pain of what he did in the army, they're going completely in the wrong direction, I feel, and it's just going to have really bad consequences, and it's not going to do anything to fix anything between Jessica and Hoyt, and I don't want them to get back together, but I think they would benefit if they had like a mutual friendship and respect and were just civil towards each other, and this honestly is just really disgraceful, the fact that all, it's not disgraceful, but it's irritating the fact that they just seem to like think it's okay to make everyone really depressed and a hateful character, and it's just like, just to get some tension in the show. I would have thought they were capable of better writing, but obviously not. Then we have Sam, his whole issue with Luna was really kind of sweet. I was very concerned. I was, really rooting for Sam and that he'd find the people who were killing the shifters, because he was right, saying that they tried to kill a child, and killing, like taking human life just because of what you are is abhorrent to me, but a child especially, I mean, there is a massive sensitivity around children, and just to see that was really, really horrendous. So I'm very much rooting for Sam. And then we have, Jason and Jessica. Jason is becoming more and more hateful towards vampires, I can see, because they killed his parents. I'm really surprised he hasn't really brought up the fact that he's half fairy, because apparently Suki is half fairy, as opposed to an 8th or a 16th. She's in the book. So that's interesting. But I really wish they'd explored Jason more in terms of the whole Fae issue. For me, the fairies in general, the way they portray them is completely unconvincing. Obviously, there isn't a massive budget on the TV show, so they do have limited resources. But I just think it was very tacky. It wasn't how I imagined the fairy at all. I almost imagined the fairies as sort of angels sort of thing, but obviously not. And I'm really not liking Claude at all. He's just kind of meh. He's nothing like he's in the book, and I really liked him in the book because he was sassy. But anyway, and then we have Jason, basically Jessica saying, "Oh yeah, all vampires aren't the same," and then she goes and kisses him, and I was thinking, wait, isn't he gonna taste that guy's blood? And he did. And I was so glad that he confronted her about it, because I'd be irritated too. I'd be like, what the hell? Why are you kissing me with telling me that, I've just told you that my parents were killed by vampires, and then you say we're not all the same, and then you kiss me with someone else's blood on your lips. It's just really, what's the word? Inconsiderate. And irresponsible and rude, actually. So yeah, obviously that whole thing between them two was really funny, where he called her a fanger, and then she jumped on him, he shot her, and then he was like, oh, you'll heal, and so will I, and he kind of healed his bites with some of her blood, and then he left. And then we have Alcide. He's kind of ranking up to become the pack master for the Fae, and he's training. I don't know who that woman is. Don't know her name. But I thought it was really cool how between them they actually showed the heat between them on screen. I don't know if that was just the way they shot it or if it was just accidental, but it looked like they had some sort of special effects to make it seem like the werewolves had a really high body temperature, which is how I always imagined them. And then you have this thing where the Packmaster was going to give Emma the vampire blood. I was really shocked at that. I was like, wow, he doesn't really care about anything other than winning. This is not a guy I can really get behind. And it makes me wonder, actually, they're going to bring back the werepandas from Hotshot, but I think not, because I don't know if werewolves, werepandas, whatever, and get on with each other. Maybe, who knows. But this whole shifter issue with Hoyt and his friends killing all the shifters, maybe they'll kind of club together and there'll be a great revelation next series. That'd be pretty cool. So yeah, and then we have Suki, who is considering getting rid of her powers just to be normal, and I can understand where she's coming from. It's because of her kind of her powers that she does get dragged along to a lot of things that she really would rather just stay out of. And sometimes I wonder why she just doesn't say no to the entire thing and just say, you know what, I'm actually going to sit this one out. But I think it's good that she kind of has a moral backbone in that she realizes that she does have power, and like Peter Parker says, with great power comes great responsibility. Yeah, I just watched the Amazing Spider-Man today, by the way. And yeah, but she was trying to get rid of the powers, and Jason saw her at the end. He was like, "What the hell?" and went running after her. So it'd be interesting to see if he stops her before she uses all her powers, and if she'll end up using all her powers anyway, or if they'll and becoming human, and if she'll stop reading people's thoughts, or if she'll be dragged back into the fairy world and they'll recharge her or whatever. Because they did say like if you got any issues, just come and see us. So she might realise that she needs them for the end game. And then we have the whole vampire thing. Basically, all the vampires were together, and I knew it was Salome who resurrected Russell. I thought it was so obvious. And it was so funny, when Eric was like, "Oh, it's vampire blood, it won't do anything to us." I was really excited to see them drink the blood, and they actually did. I was like, wow, that's cool. And it actually got them really high. And then obviously they went on a feeding frenzy, and at first I thought Eric was like abstaining from feeding on the blood, but later on they showed him like drinking somebody quite viciously, might I add. So he was obviously kind of off his head with the rest of them. Then Lilith appeared. I'm not sure if that was a vision or a hallucination. She was very beautiful. I'll put it that way. I think she looks Hispanic to me, but I might be wrong. But yeah, and then this whole thing about the Sanguinistas, I can tell it's going to be. I think this is going to be the end game for this season. It's going to all ramp up to where they're going to perhaps stop the Sanguinistas, and Eric is the one with the moral backbone, because he does have the vision of Godric despite being so heavily, drugged by Lilith's blood, if that even is her blood. And yeah, this is what I'm excited. This is what I mean when I said I'm really excited, because I saw Godric. Like, I heard the accent and I heard the language, and then I was like almost screaming, almost squealing, because he was just so amazing. I loved every part of it. So he says, my son, help your sister out. You know what's right, but she doesn't. So it's kind of like, he favors Eric per se, and that just supports my theory that them two have a whole history going on, like a romantic history between them still. So I was really excited to see that. I was like, yay, team Eric and Godric. So hopefully, I thought Eric was gonna stake Nora. I don't really like Nora. Who cares about her, man? Get rid of her. So yeah, I really want more Godric. It would just be amazing. And I forgot about Tara and Pam. The tension between Tara and Pam this episode was amazing. I thought it was wonderful. I think it's so much great build up towards a kind of final pairing between those two. I know like it shouldn't be about relationships, but obviously it's a maker progeny thing. And they both do come from disadvantaged backgrounds. And I felt so sorry for Tara when her mother walked in and was like, "You're dead to me." It was like, you know what, you should be dead to Tara the way you treated her. She's done nothing apart from being a vampire, and you're just being really horrible to her. And then she got up and she hugged Pam. I was like, oh my goodness. But there's so much tension between them, there's so much build up that I think that if they finally get together, it's gonna be really, wonderful and magical, and I've never felt this much tension between two characters before, so I'm really excited. They're slowly becoming my favourite couple in the show, apart from Eric and Godric, which is not even canon, really, I don't think. Well, I hope they show it, but I assume it's canon, but I don't know if it is. And just like a last note on Lafayette, it's really interesting to see Lafayette finally, kind of get his own storyline and kind of get answers about Jesus. I'm so glad that woman kind of kicked the Jesus' dad's ass. Was it his granddad anyway? It was kind of sick, when when Lafayette's mouth was like so shut, and I was like, oh, so maybe he's gonna get out. I hope he does. Now, this is my review of True Blood Season 5, Episode 7.